Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the invisible blueprint that turns raw materials into pretty much everything around us. We're talking about the brain behind the brawn of manufacturing, production planning, and scheduling.
So let's just jump right in with a question. What could a custom-made machine part, a simple bottle of soda, and a massive, brand-new bridge possibly have in common? I mean, they couldn't be more different, right? But they all share one single crucial starting point. Any guesses?
The answer? They all begin with a plan. Yep, before a single piece of metal is cut, before any liquid gets bottled, before one steel beam is hoisted into the air, there is a detailed plan. It's the universal blueprint that guides every single action in the world of making things.
Okay, so to really get our heads around production planning, the first thing we need to do is look at it through the lens of time. See, it's not just one single action. It's more like a series of plans that exist on three totally different horizons, from the way out there big picture stuff right down to what needs to get done in the next 5 minutes.
You know, the easiest way to think about this is like planning a vacation. The long-term plan, that's you deciding we're going to go to Japan next year. That's the big strategic goal. The midterm plan is when you actually book the flights and the hotels. You're locking in the big resources. And the short-term plan? That's your day-to-day itinerary. Are we going to the temple this morning or the market? And believe it or not, factories work on these exact same levels. Long-term strategy, mid-term resource planning, and short-term, get-it-done-now execution.
So we've got the when of planning down. Now we need to understand the what, as in what kind of production are we even planning for? Because, as you're about to see, not all manufacturing is created equal, not by a long shot.
If you zoom way out, almost any manufacturing operation on the planet can be dropped into one of three major buckets: discrete, process, and project. And figuring out which bucket a factory fits into, well, that's the key to understanding all of its unique challenges.
First up, we have discrete production. This is probably what you picture when you hear the word factory. The key word to remember here is discrete, as in separate, distinct items. You can physically count the final product: one phone, two phones; one car, two cars. They're all individual items that have been assembled.
Next, we have process production, and this is fundamentally different. Here, you're not putting parts together, you're mixing or cooking or reacting different ingredients to create a whole new substance. You can't unbake a cake, right? You can't unrefine gasoline. The process itself creates something brand new and totally indivisible.
And our third big category is project production. This is for the monumental, one-of-a-kind creations. We are talking about building a huge ship, a suspension bridge, or a massive power plant. The product here is so big and so unique that it stays in one place, and all the workers, materials, and machinery have to come to it. Now, of those three types, discrete production, making all those countable items, is easily the most common, and it's often the most complex to schedule. So let's zoom in one level deeper and see how that world gets broken down even more.
Right. So even within the world of discrete manufacturing, there are really two dominant philosophies, two completely different ways of getting things done. We call them the job shop and the flow shop. And understanding the difference between these two is absolutely critical.
This slide really lays out the core differences. On one side, you've got the job shop. It's built for tons of different products, but in small quantities. It uses flexible, all-purpose machines, which, as you can probably guess, makes scheduling a real headache. On the other side, you've got the flow shop. It's the total opposite. It's built for pumping out huge volumes of just one or two things, using super specialized assembly lines. The scheduling? Way simpler. It's just a straight line.
You know, here's maybe the easiest way to lock this into your brain. Just think of a job shop as a craftsman's workshop, where every single order is a unique custom job. A flow shop, on the other hand, is that classic assembly line we all picture, designed for one thing and one thing only, making identical items as fast and as cheap as humanly possible.
So what's actually happening inside one of these job shops? Well, you'll see all kinds of processes like these. But, and this is super important to get, this is not a simple step 1, step 2, step 3 process. Not at all. A single product might start with metal forming, then go to batch processing, and then have to go back for more forming. The workflow is tangled and different for almost every single job.
All right, so we've gone through this whole classification system, from time horizons to production types to these subtypes, but why? Why does any of this actually matter in the real world? Well, the answer is pretty simple.
You can't solve a problem if you don't really understand what the problem is in the first place.
Just think about it. The scheduling challenges at a high-volume car factory, that's a flow shop, are completely different from the challenges at a custom machine part company, a job shop. The software, the strategies, the tools that work for one would be an absolute disaster at the other. Each of these categories has its own unique set of problems that demands its own unique set of solutions.
And that right there is the single most important takeaway from all of this. Correctly identifying your production environment is the very first and, honestly, the most critical step you can take toward making it better. Once you know if you're living in a job shop world or a flow shop world or something else entirely, then you can finally start using the right tools to tackle your specific challenges.
So let's end with a question for you. Think about your own job for a second. Doesn't matter if it's in an office or on a factory floor. Using this framework we just walked through, how would you classify it? Is it a high-variety, complex job shop? Is it a high-volume, repetitive flow shop? Or maybe it's a one-of-a-kind project? Really think about it. Understanding where you fit might just change how you look at your work tomorrow.